What's going on today, boys? Welcome back to the channel. We are just kind of tightening some stuff up on the cars here today. I'm going to go ahead and take some rear camber out of the Civic right away, just because it looks good, but this is too much camber compared to the front. It doesn't really look uniform. So I'm going to back it off a couple turns, but I got to take the one bolt out, which is a pain, because you can't adjust it just in there. But I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make a gauge holder out of that sheet metal. I got a new quick disconnect, and I brought my other wheel here. I'm just waiting on my new wheel to arrive, but we'll do the whole steering setup. And then I want to start popping off all this shit and sand her down a little bit and get it painted, and then see if I can get this to stay, because that's whack, and a lot of them have broken clips, and then this too snapped. And it just makes the car look like junk. So I'm gonna fix all that, and we'll basically just see how much we can get done today. But first things first is quickly get this camber dealt with before the bolt seize up in there again. Boys, so we've gone ahead and adjusted the rear upward control arms, the camber kit. We basically just 360'd this and then 360'd it back from there, tightened it up. From end to end, it's about 7 inches on both sides, so we'll see what that gets us. Is yours tight on both sides?
Yep, all's good.
What about the helicoil?
So the helicoil, like, I was tightening it and then you kind of felt it break, but it threads in and out. But like if I try and just pull the bolt out, like it's completely solid, but there's just little wiggle room. So I feel like if any sort of tension goes on it, it's not going to come out. But even the other bolt too, it just keeps it completely solid. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, honestly.
You think she's good to rip?
I would.
Yeah.
It's kind of the only option we really have right now.
So I'm going to put the wheels back on, boys. We're going to lower the car down and see what we get with a little bit less negative camber, just to make it look a little bit more uniform. And then we're probably going to move on to the steering setup and making the gauge holder and funner stuff like that, because I've been underneath the rear of this car too much within the past 2 months. So put these back on, see how it looks, and let's move on. Club going up. Jesus, that little thing's heavy as that was smooth though. Alright, through.
E-brake off.
E-brake off. Oh yeah. It definitely has camber still, and that's about exactly where I'd want it. You can tell it's way less, but still has camber.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a decent amount.
Yeah. I want as much.
That is so subtle.
Right? I want as much contact patch on the ground as possible.
Okay. Makes it more uniform.
Definitely more uniform. Not Neapolitan, as Eli says. You can tell though, like when you squat in the back, it's still not really resting on the outside edge of the tire. But I think that'll be perfect. Oh God. I'm gonna order new this, new these, fix this. I got a plan to fix these. I'm gonna make my gauge holder today, put the quick release in. So with all that being said, let's move on to it. All right, boys, we got the Civic in its same spot. The lube shuffled over, and then we got the back of the Golf up again after it resonated. The lead, dude. What happened?
Well, I cut it too short. So they kind of like, when I went to put it on, they kind of hit at this point, so it makes like a slight gap, but when I tried to clamp it, it wouldn't pull it up, because then it would move my whole exhaust kind of forward and the hanger's not sitting right. So when I cold start it, it kind of like rattles a bit. So I gotta like either sand it down or cut a little bit off and get it fit better so it doesn't have any leakage.
Gotta get that OEM fitment, dude, for the Golf R. Okay, boys, next thing's next. I'm going to go ahead and attack the steering wheel, put the quick disconnect on with the other wheel. That is not the new wheel, that's Kira's wheel. My new wheel doesn't come in until next month. But then when it's on quick disconnect, I can just have it off and have a lot more space to measure that out, cut the sheet metal, and hopefully make a gauge holder today. But first things first, let's get the quick disconnect on that wheel and on that hub, and then give Eli his wheel back. Okay boys, we are switched to the Insta360, so here we go. Okay boys, she is installed. Oh boy, hell yeah, that's like perfect driving position too. Wrists 45 and then, oh, and then we put it on. Shit, I need to do more of a spin, I think. It needs to be like upside down. Oh, there's the ding, baby. Quick disconnect installed. Let's move on to fixing this with this and a hole saw. Okay boys, so now I'm going to go ahead and use the sheet metal to make a gauge pot holder because I will be having oil pressure and AFR gauge there. We're basically just going to measure it out and then mark it on there, cut it out, and then drill some holes through it. So let's get her going. Okay boys, it's been a minute since I've been on the big camera. Got a lot of first person shots. We are just making this here now. Little gauge holder. Filer a bit bigger though.
Yeah, you can see when we tried to put this in. It goes super nice and then it hits the threads and it's kind of tight. So we're gonna get that down. It's only like a hair off and then it'll slip.
Widen her up. Alright boys, and there we go, our 3 holes. We're just going to deburr these guys and then actually cut out the plate and then test fit it in the car and see how she looks. Okay, the gauge holder is all cut out, all pretty well done. Just getting some burrs off of it, throw some paint on it, make sure the gauge actually fits in all 3, and slap it in the dash, and that's going to be it boys. This thing took way too long, but it's done now. Little gauge holder, a little rough around the edges, but it's done for now. Throw some paint on it and away we go. One coat is all it takes. Okay boys, and there's basically the finished product. Now it's just time to throw it in the car, throw a gauge in it, and we're good to go. We got our little plate here, fellas. Oh, thank you, thank you. The paint added some extra thick. Nice. Okay, boom boys, and the gauge cluster is installed. There you have it. Boom, we got our water temp. We're going to do oil pressure and AFR as well. But there for now is our little gauge cluster. Should make like a little block off for those until I fill them for now. But water temp gauge has never been sitting nicer in here. Hell yeah. And there you have it. Rear camber has been adjusted. Gauge holder has been made. NRG quick release is on. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Peace.